I think there's a lot of very interesting questions pertaining to Hillary Clinton that I would like to ask. But if we're having this conversation, you think of Marco Rubio's announcement that we've been watching all morning long and talking about, and you measure up accomplishments and ability to weather the storm and ability to have had experience that might apply to this job.
The Putin test.
It's like, it's not even, there's just, this is not even a conversation.
You mean like Barack Obama and John McCain?
Lunch.
You mean like Barack Obama and John McCain?
No, like Hillary Clinton, Marco Rubio. It just doesn't, maybe this is my ideology.
Watch that screen.
But I'm sorry, but that's a little boy, and that's an experienced, accomplished woman who's been elected.
All right, joining us now is Larry Klayman, ladies and gentlemen, founder of Freedom Watch, former federal prosecutor. Larry, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I didn't know. I mean, it certainly would have been different if Marco Rubio were a black man, but I didn't know, it was appropriate to call a Hispanic U.S. senator a little boy.
Well, it's very demeaning, obviously. Everything's turned upside down, Steve, in our political world these days. You can't speak out for fear of being called a racist or a sexist, but when the left does it, it's acceptable, and we can't say anything in exchange. When I say we, I mean the establishment. We're not the establishment. We can certainly speak out, but that was outrageous. It's inappropriate, and clearly Marco Rubio is not a little boy. He's, I think, a year older than John Kennedy was when he was elected president.
And not only that, it's funny. Well, it's not funny. I know they say with disdain, what do they call the Republicans? Old white men. But he's not a white man, and they're still trashing him. And here's the thing. As Joe Scarborough correctly pointed out, and I'm no big fan of Joe Scarborough, Tamika, he says that Hillary has it all over Rubio experience-wise, qualifications-wise, and yet she supported Obama over McCain, and McCain, experience-wise and qualifications-wise, had it all over, as Scarborough pointed out, Obama. So the hypocrisy, stinks.
It depends how you define qualifications. About criminal behavior, laundering money from foreign powers to influence U.S. government action, whether it was China during the Clinton administration years or a lot of these Muslim countries today that were lining Mrs. Clinton's pockets at her foundation while she was Secretary of State. Yeah, she's got a lot of experience in money laundering and crimes. So I agree. She's much more experienced in that regard.
But let me ask you this. Hillary announces, and you haven't heard one word, except the New York Times wrote a story today that Hillary was asked about her emails by Congress in 2012 and said, I don't think I want to talk about it, and then resigned. But other than that, you haven't heard one word about anything related to Hillary's email problems or Clinton Foundation problems. All you're hearing about is, what her van looks like and how she's getting coffee and burritos. On the other hand, when a Republican announces, all you hear about are what is in the mind of the media are the baggage they have or the problems they have or the bad policies they support. So the double standard is horrific.
Let me give you an example. I'm down here in the Miami area this week and throughout Florida. And I was looking at the Miami Herald the other day, the day after Rubio announced. It was a small little article at the bottom of the first page. And I remember how they treated me when I ran for the U.S. Senate as a Republican in 2004. That's a perfect example of how you're a Republican, you're treated like less than equal, particularly if you're a man these days. It's reverse discrimination. Be a man to be at the back of the bus, be white to be back at the bus. We should all be equal, Steve. I'm sure you agree that, but that's not going to happen with newspapers like the Miami Herald and the rest of the liberal media.
All right. So let me ask you this: what is it going to take for Hillary to be held accountable? I mean, with the Clinton Foundation, with the do you have confidence that some legal process will take hold, or at least that whoever the Republican candidate is, that they don't say, oh, nobody cares, oh, it's already been talked about, and they beat this to death on the foundation's contributions and her actions as Secretary of State based on contributions, at least in one case, and of course the email scandal?
They'll never do it directly, the Republicans. You can see just Rubio's speech. She's a candidate of yesterday. Well, what does that mean? Al Capone yesterday, or does it mean just yesterday? The reality is the Republicans don't want to face up to the issue. They never have. When I ran Judicial Watch, we did the dirty work with regard to Clinton, quote unquote, back in the 1990s. No one wanted to sully their hands on the Republican side of it. And now today, none of the Republican candidates, or for that matter, Trey Gowdy of the Government Oversight and Reform Committee, are pushing that hard against Hillary. They're leaving it to Fox News, to you and to others, and to us, because we're in court on 3 cases, attempting to get not just the servers, but to have a forensic expert look at those emails.
Right.
And I'm confident that we may find the judge that'll let us do that.
Well, Larry, I hope so. And keep up the work, and we'll speak to you soon. Enjoy Florida. Thank you very much, Larry Klayman. All right, folks, when we come back, this hour's American Place. But first, we're bringing back our viewer call-in segment, as you know, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. So if you want to come on, if you want to participate, you can't just call in the day that we do it as we're doing it. We have to reach out to you first, or you have to reach out to us first. So email us. Email us at callsteve@newsmax.com. Call Steve at newsmax.com. Let us know your address, your name, not your address, your phone number, your name, how we could contact you, and we will. And we want to hear from you. So again, call Steve at newsmax.com. Do that now. Don't go away.